The views expressed on this program are those of the producers and individuals appearing on this program and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Sun Prairie Media Center staff, its video service providers, or the staff and elected officials of the City of Sun Prairie.
Hello and welcome to Real Reviews. My name is Jamison Rabbitt, and this week it's a big show. And for the big show, you know I have to have old reliable here. Steve Sabatke is joining me again.
I feel like I should be wearing the tuxedo for this.
Well, it's time, you know, it's hooray for Hollywood time.
I mean, I don't own one, but I kind of feel like I should have worn one.
Yeah, we're talking about it's Oscars season. The Oscars telecast, as we're recording, is this upcoming Sunday.
Yeah, it's coming up.
So today we get to do one of our really fun shows where we get to make our Oscar predictions. We also get to hand out our awards, who we think should win the awards. And I love that. And then we see how we did. But
Yep. If we could vote.
If we could vote, right. But first we have a movie to talk about. So we turn to what is on the marquee for this week. We have the newest film in the Rocky/Creed franchise. It's Creed 3, this time directed by star Michael B. Jordan, who is also the star as Adonis Creed. We see an older Adonis Creed now, having achieved all his dreams inside the boxing ring. He's decided to hang up the gloves and focus on his family and being a fight promoter and a manager. And he's managing the new world champ in anticipation with a huge fight versus Drago, when suddenly an old friend, hey, right on cue, reappears in his life. Dame Anderson, played by Jonathan Majors, who is a guy who used to be a Gold Gloves boxer when they were kids, and a guy who was close with Adonis and who ended up spending nearly 2 decades in prison for something that happened when these two were kids together one night. And Dame is troubled, but he's hungry to pick up where he left off 20 years ago, with visions of becoming the world champ despite this long layoff. And it really puts Adonis in an awkward situation as the manager and promoter of the current world champ. We watch as Dame becomes kind of an unstoppable tank, kind of a mix between George Foreman and Mike Tyson, as he captures the hearts of fight fans. And of course, it's all going to culminate in Adonis having to make a decision, whether to come out of retirement to face his former friend, stand up for his family's name, and bring order back to the boxing ranks. This movie notably has no Sylvester Stallone attachment to it,
Yep.
Which he has been very vocal about. I felt like it still had a lot of DNA to the Creed movies. Ryan Coogler producing this, who's kind of the guiding force of these films and the director of some of them. Do you have any attachment with the Creed franchise coming into this?
I mean, full disclosure, I saw the first one and I can barely remember it. I did not see the second one. I mean, I thought this was a pretty decent film. I thought Michael B. Jordan did a good job directing it, and I thought he was pretty good in it, along with Jonathan Majors. And let's just say it now, 2023 is probably going to be the year of Jonathan Majors.
Right. He's already got the 2 #1 movies of the box office.
You got this one. He's got another one coming out later this year where he's going to be playing a bodybuilder, which I guess is supposed to be pretty good. So he's a star. And I thought the boxing scenes were very authentic, but you know, as I was watching this, I kept thinking, boy, there's just something missing here. Yeah. And I thought that something was humor. There is virtually no humor in this film. I mean, this is very serious. It's kind of thriller-like. Jonathan Majors, his character's very menacing. Yeah. Every time he's on the screen, you're kind of asking yourself, what's he going to say? What's he going to do? I think
that's the best of Jonathan Majors, though, is he makes you uneasy.
He does. He makes you extremely uneasy. And you mentioned Sylvester Stallone. I think one of the reasons there's no humor in this is because he's not in this. Sure. And I read where he said that one of the reasons why he decided not to do it was because he didn't like the dark theme of the film. And he's right. It's very dark. It's very serious. And I wish all that seriousness would have been broken up with some humorous
Sure, because the Rocky character was self-deprecating.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of what made the Rocky franchise pretty popular. Is you know, you had some wisecracks in there every once in a while.
I felt like this was a heavy dose of Rocky 3, where Rocky was kind of sitting back on his laurels, and all of a sudden this young, ferocious tank, Mr. T, Clubber Lang, shows up. Also reminding me, I don't know if you've ever seen the film Warrior. which is an MMA film with Tom Hardy. And
I've
Joel
heard of
Edgerton,
it. Yeah, I've never
where
seen
Tom
it.
Hardy plays they're brothers, and he comes back after years away as an unstoppable machine in the ring. It kind of reminded me of that. I really liked the fight choreography. Now, there's some really unorthodox ways of shooting the final fight scene that I haven't seen before in a boxing movie, where we basically leave the boxing ring for a little while.
Well, are you talking about when they replace the spectators with the black clouds?
And we bring in all that. And
I thought that was a little over the top.
Well, I'm reading that Michael B. Jordan is a huge anime fan. He loves it, watches it every day, and wanted to bring some of that into this. And I thought, well, that's interesting because I've seen boxing movies are boxing movies.
Yes.
We've seen it in a boxing movie 1,000 times. It's the same fight. I thought, okay, it's at least different than other fight sequences.
So that was from anime?
Yeah, apparently.
Okay.
I think that Jonathan Majors is incredible in this. And
yes, he is.
He's so duplicitous in his face, where he have contradictory emotions where he's smiling, but you're like, "Oh, that's scary. That smile's scary. I don't like this." I thought he was great. The stuff with Felicia Rashad as the mom, I thought was. Could have used another 20 minutes. I thought this movie could have used like another 20 minutes and give me some more backstory with,
the two.
Yeah.
Creed and Dame.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the movie I thought was pretty predictable. Something happens about halfway into the movie that results in Dame getting a shot at the title.
Right.
And I figured out how that happened pretty much right away.
Well, obviously.
And it was a plot twist that they never really resolved at the end.
Yeah, because if that got exposed, it would be a real big thing.
Yeah.
I like little things though, like they referenced the Rumble in the Jungle in this movie, and then it kind of becomes that where Creed is the Ali taking on this ferocious George Foreman. I kind of like how they brought that back. I'm curious if this is the end of the Creed franchise.
No.
I mean, it made a massive.
I'm going to tell you right now. I read today before coming on this show that Michael B. Jordan apparently is in talks with Prime Video. For a Creed film and TV franchise or universe. I guess that's the term for it.
The expanded universe.
Universe, yeah. And there's going to be a sequel. I mean, I pretty much figured out what the sequel is going to be about at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Which you can't say.
They telegraph it pretty good.
It was pretty like, here's what it's going to be. So
we might have to wait a little while for that, though. But yeah.
In movie time, maybe 10 years.
That's true. All right, what did you end up giving Creed 3?
I mean, I did enjoy it. I'll probably forget about it next week, but I gave it 3 stars.
Yeah.
I think it's fairly decent for what it is.
Yeah. I actually liked it more than Creed 2. I loved the first Creed. The second one I thought was meh. I like this one more. I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. It's fun. I love these. I'm a sucker for a good boxing movie.
Yeah.
They're predictable, but I enjoy them. So. All right, let's move into what we're here for. We're talking about some Oscars. The telecast is this Sunday. We have watched all these movies over the last year, discussed them, ranked them, did all this stuff, but now it's time to put our money where our mouth is and talk about some awards. And so we are going to get started. We're going to make our predictions for who we think is going to actually win the awards on the telecast, and then maybe change it up and give out who we think should get the award. Some of them might not even be nominated, so it's going to be impossible, but we'll see. So I'm going to get us started with our best animated feature film. We had 5, of course. The nominees are Turning Red, The Sea Beast, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, and Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Sir, I ask you first for your prediction of who's going to win.
Well, wouldn't it be cute to see Marcel the Shell walk up to the stage to get the Oscar? But that's not going to happen. I think this is going to be Pinocchio by Guillermo del Toro. He won, or the film won Best Feature at the Annie Awards, which is the annual animation awards. And that's a pretty good barometer for who's going to win. But, Marcel could be an upset because Marcel won Best Indie Feature at the Annie Awards. But Pinocchio has also won the Producer Guild Award, BAFTA, Critics' Choice. I would be shocked if it was not Pinocchio.
Yeah, I agree with you as well. My prediction is also Del Toro's Pinocchio, film that I had in my top 10 of the year last year. Really enjoyed. I think it's just a class above the rest of them. But who would you give your award to, though? Who do you think should win?
You probably know the
Sabatke?
answer to this one. I mean, it was in my top 10 for 2022, Turning Red.
Yeah.
Funny, touching, original, broke new ground with a theme that I don't think an animated feature's ever featured before. I find it to be one of Pixar's best. I think in any normal year where you wouldn't have such a strong field, that would win, but it's not going to, unfortunately.
Yeah. Similar to you, I have Pinocchio in my top 10 of the year, so I would give it to them. But I agree with you. Turning Red, in most years, you just assume, yeah, they'll cruise to this. The dark horse, though, is like the sleeper favorite of so many people right now. Puss in Boots, the movie that can't be stopped at the box office. That movie's been in the top 3 at the box office for 10 straight weeks.
Yeah, I know. I think it's still playing in theaters.
There.
Yeah,
that movie I cannot believe has had the success.
Maybe.
It's not going to win.
No.
All right, let's move on to our next category. Let's get into the acting categories with our supporting actress category. The nominees are Angela Bassett for Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Stephanie Hsu for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Carrie Condon for The Banshees of Inisherin, and Hong Chau for The Whale. I ask you first, sir, for your prediction of who's going to have that trophy.
Well, I think this is kind of a tough one. This is a race between Angela Bassett and Jamie Lee Curtis. Bassett was nominated in 1993 for Best Actress for What's Love Got to Do with It. Curtis has never been nominated.
That's hard to believe.
Yeah,
it
is.
Long career.
I mean, Curtis did win the SAG, and conventional wisdom says whoever wins SAG wins the Oscar, so that may happen. But I think this one's going to go to Angela Bassett, and I don't know if there's going to be an Everything Everywhere sweep. I mean, I'm sure we'll be talking about that. But I think this is a way to honor, I mean, they've both been in the business for quite a long time, but I think this is a way for them to recognize Black Panther.
Yeah, I agree. I think Angela Bassett will win. I also think when you find two actresses from the same film, where you have Jamie Lee Curtis and Stephanie Hsu, they can split the vote of voters. Like, that was a great movie. I love their performances, blah, blah, and they can split that vote. And I do think Angela Bassett will win. And, an emotional movie. And they were kind of attacked for not giving Chadwick Boseman an award a couple years ago posthumously. Hopefully maybe this is a way to honor that too as well. But who would you give your award to, though?
Well, I would give it to Carrie Condon with Banshees of Inisherin, my favorite film of last year. Now, she won at BAFTA, so she could be a sleeper, and she could win this one. But I just thought she was the conscience of the film. She was the hopeful mediator who tried to figure out what was going on between her brother and her best friend. While at the same time, she just wanted to move on to the next chapter of her life and get off that island.
She was the only sane one on the island.
It was just a great performance. I would just love to see her get this.
These are all great performances. I went off the board with mine, though. For an actress starring in a film that you and I watched together very recently. I went with Jessie Buckley in Women Talking.
Yes, okay.
I absolutely loved a film filled with great performances. But I thought her performance stood out above all of them to me, and I was kind of really mesmerized by her, as I am in most movies that she's in. So I went off the board. Thought she should have been nominated, but she's more of an ensemble.
Yeah, that's the problem with.
Claire Foy.
You've got that ensemble with Claire Foy and Jessie Buckley, and I can't Rooney Mara. I mean, who do you put into that particular category? I think they all deserve to get it.
I made my choice.
But you're right. Hey, Jessie Buckley was really good.
She's not going to win. I'm just going to tell you.
No.
All right, let's move on to our Best Supporting Actor category. Boy, this is a fun one. Our nominees are Brendan Gleeson for The Banshees of Inisherin, Brian Tyree Henry for Causeway, Judd Hirsch for The Fabelmans, Gary Keoghan for The Banshees of Inisherin, and Kiwi Kwan for Everything Everywhere All at Once. So who is going to get their dreams come true in this one?
Well, this is an easy one as far as predictions are concerned. I mean, it's got to be Kiwi Kwan. I mean, he's won more Critics Awards than any of the other nominees. He's won pretty much everything except for BAFTA. Sure. And BAFTA, which is the British Awards.
I don't always trust BAFTA.
That went to Barry Keoghan of Banshees of Inisherin.
Where's he from?
Yeah. So, but he may be the sleeper here. But I really would be absolutely shocked if he doesn't get this, as much as I would like to see either Judd Hirsch or Brendan Gleeson.
All great performances here. I mean, 5 great performances in varying degrees of size of their roles.
I'm not a fan of the movie, and I think I said that when we did the best of 2022. But I thought he did a great job. Yeah. And, you know, I saw a news segment on him recently. He was talking about, you know, waiting for that phone call to get the role in Everything Everywhere, and he was tearing up, and I was tearing up.
It's a great story.
It's a great story.
Who doesn't root for this guy? I mean, it's an incredible story of being away from Hollywood for decades and just kind of giving up and being like, all right, I'll give one more shot at it. And, yeah, 2 years ago, it would have been the most unlikely winner if I told you, hey, Data, short round, is going to win. Hey, what? But yeah, I agree. I think that Ke Huy Quan is going to win as well, and I can't wait for his acceptance speech. Now, who would you give the award to?
You know, I mean, I really thought about this, and I would give it to Ke Huy Quan. I really would. Again, not a big fan of the movie, but I really thought, you know, just taking his performance as a whole and not worrying about, you know, his backstory, I thought he did a great job.
He had a lot going on in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, what's my second choice? It would probably be Judd Hirsch for The Fabelmans, but, you know, Judd Hirsch was only on for, what, maybe 5 minutes tops.
Yeah, he came in just throwing heat.
I'm glad he was nominated, so.
Yeah, I am as well. Yeah, and I believe, I think I would also give it to Ke Huy Quan. I don't know if I said that. Yeah, I mean, it's.
We're calling yours the Gold Rabbit? Did we establish
the Gold Rabbit,
that?
Yeah, that's what I put down. I was going to have a golden rabbit statue, and then I forgot to order it.
Mine's just called the Sabatke. Yeah.
I'm not very.
A lot of prestige with that.
Yeah. All right, let's move into Best Actress. This is, I believe, a tough category for me to pick, but our nominees are Andrea Riseborough for To Leslie, Ana de Armas for Blonde, Cate Blanchett for Tar, Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans, and Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. For me, this is the toughest race to call.
This is a tough one. And I think it's a race between Michelle Yeoh and Cate Blanchett.
Yeah.
And it could go either way. I mean, Yeoh's won the Golden Globe, SAG, Independent Spirit, which now is Best Lead Performance. They don't distinguish by gender. So she won over males in that category as well. Blanchett won the Golden Globe for drama. Yeoh was for comedy. I don't know if Everything Everywhere is a comedy, but Blanchett also won BAFTA and Critics' Choice. But Blanchett has won 2 Oscars already.
Yes.
She won for The Aviator in 2005, Best Supporting Actress, and Best Actress for Blue Jasmine in 2014. So I think the momentum's with Everything Everywhere on this one. And Yeoh's fresh off her SAG win, and this is her first Oscar nomination. And so I think she's going to win this.
Yeah, I agree. I really struggle with these, torn between them. And I end up going with Michelle Yeoh. Partly I believe there is a narrative thing to these voters, and what a great story to give it to Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah, it is a great story.
And she legitimately had a great performance. And yeah, it's been split down the middle, but I ultimately ended up going with my prediction of Michelle Yeoh as well.
I also read she did most of her own stunts.
Yeah. Well, that's what she's been doing forever.
Yeah.
30 years in the business as a stunt woman. Who do you think should win, though?
I would give it to Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans.
Yeah, I feel terrible for her. She had an amazing performance.
It's amazing. I thought she was really the center of the film, playing the mother of the Steven Spielberg character. It was fantastic.
I thought she should have campaigned as Best Supporting Actress. She would have won that. But yeah,
I'm not going to get in. We're not going to get into the whole Andrea Riseborough.
No, but I do want to say,
how did she get in thing?
I do want to say that I felt
There's been plenty written about that.
Danielle Detweiler should have gotten nominated.
Yes.
I don't know how Ana de Armas.
I'm really glad you said that.
I don't know how Riseborough got in. I don't know how Ana de Armas got in for Blonde, the worst movie of the year in my opinion.
Yeah, Danielle Detweiler for Till, maybe even Viola Davis for The Woman King.
Yeah. But I ended up giving my award to Cate Blanchett. When I saw Tar and rewatched Tar, I said, this is an incredible performance.
It is.
She's my favorite actress. I think it was just a masterful performance that completely relied on her. And so that's who I ended up giving my award to, but I will not be disappointed to see Michelle Yeoh get hers. Best Actor, we turn to our nominees are Austin Butler for Elvis, Colin Farrell for The Banshees of Inisherin, Brendan Fraser for The Whale, Paul Mescal for After Sun, Bill Nighy for Living. Interesting note, all first-time nominees, all
Yes,
5
they
men
are.
in this category.
Yep.
Who do you give your who do you predict is going to get that award?
All right, this is my frowning, shaking my head category.
Yeah.
I think it's going to go to Austin Butler.
No, don't say that.
I
really don't want him to win this.
I don't want him to win either. I mean, I thought he was better in the second half of the film, but Oscar does love actors that play musical legends.
Boy, that is true.
Sissy Spacek, Jamie Foxx, Rami Malek just recently. And Elvis is nominated for Best Picture, which helps.
Yeah.
Brendan Fraser is one that could definitely win this, but The Whale was not nominated for Best Picture, and that may hurt him. So
yeah, I'm afraid that the guy who I thought gave the worst performance of this bunch is going to get the award, and that's Austin Butler. But my prediction, maybe I'm just wish casting out there, that Brendan Fraser will get this award. I'm predicting that he gets it again. I do believe that the voters like a nice narrative. And to have all these people, Michelle Yeoh, Kiwi Kwan, Brendan Fraser, people who have had these long careers, who have kind of been below the radar for so long, getting awards, I do feel like that there's something in there with that. And so I'm going to predict Brendan Fraser, I would say, pulls off the upset over Austin Butler, because I think Austin Butler is kind of assumed to get this. But boy, I really hope. All right, who do you think should get this award?
Colin Farrell. Again, going back to my favorite film, Banshees, he was so good playing this character. It's a heartbreaking performance. And unfortunately, he didn't win BAFTA. I thought that he would. That could mean a loss of momentum for him. He could be the sleeper in this, but I would really love to see Colin Farrell get this.
I agree. That's who I would give my award to. Colin Farrell, his performance.
Good.
It's incredible and surprised. I was shocked to find out that he'd never been nominated once for anything.
Yeah.
I had to look it up. Like, really? I thought his performance was so nuanced. I absolutely loved him in that movie. So let's turn to Best Director, sir. We have 5 nominees, of course. We have Mark McDonough for The Banshees of Inisherin, The Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Steven Spielberg for The Fabelmans, Todd Field for Tar, and Ruben Östlund for Triangle of Sadness. What do you think? What's your prediction on this one?
Well, this one, you gotta go to who won the Directors Guild Award, because usually that's who wins Best Director. In fact, it's only been 7 times that the Directors Guild Award winner has not won the Best Director, and that's in the Guild's 69-year history. So the Daniels for Everything Everywhere, they did win the Directors Guild.
Yeah.
They will win the Oscar. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I concur. I think it's pretty much assumed, I think, that they're going to win because they've kind of cleaned up on most of the awards that matter. Who would you give your award to?
Well, I think the sleeper in this one is Steven Spielberg.
Sure. Never count him out.
I wanted him to win Best Director last year for West Side Story. He didn't, so I'm going to go with him again this year. The Fabelmans is a great movie. I mean, he just opens up his heart and his soul.
Yeah, absolutely.
On his adolescence on this one. And, hey, the Daniels are young.
Right.
They're probably gonna be up for future awards. Come on,
do you give out a great career award to Steven Spielberg, and what might be his last time getting an award like this?
Well, it might be. Yeah, and the Oscars are known for doing that.
Absolutely, they love Lifetime Achievement Awards.
Yeah, so I want Spielberg to take home the Oscar, but I will say this. All right.
Yeah.
They should have nominated S.S. Rajamouli for RRR.
Thank you. Yes, exactly. I was shocked that they only got a nomination for Best Song.
That is such a massive, epic picture and there's so much going on, and a lot of the credit for that, I think, goes to him. So, should have been nominated.
Yeah, that was my number 3 movie of the year last year, and it got ghosted. I think it's tough. I think Martin McDonough made a beautiful, bleak movie with Banshees. The Daniels, that's a huge undertaking, though, of trying to tie all this together. And we see Marvel has really struggled with trying to tie together a multiverse. I thought the Daniels did a much better job. And so, I give my award to the Daniels as well for Best Directing Team right there. All right, the big one. Here we are, the final one. Best Picture. We have 10 nominees. We have Women Talking, Triangle of Sadness, Top Gun Maverick, Tar, The Fabelmans, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Elvis, Banshees of Inisherin, Avatar: The Way of Water, and All Quiet on the Western Front. What's your prediction, sir?
Well, Everything Everywhere won Directors Guild, it won Producers Guild, it won the SAG Award for the cast. If you win that trifecta, the odds are that you will win Best Picture. So I believe it's going to be
I was waiting
Everything.
for a butt to come in there.
Well, I think the sleeper here is going to be All Quiet on the Western Front.
Oh, yeah.
Which won BAFTA. Now, but they're also up for Best International Feature, All Quiet on the Western Front.
And that's oftentimes they're like, well, you'll get your award.
Yeah, so I think they're going to say, you get Best International Feature, and we're going to go with Everything Everywhere on this one. I think this is going to be.
And can you see that the Academy, that would be the first time they gave a Netflix movie Best Picture?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's coming. I mean, it is
going
to happen.
You keep making movies of this quality. Yeah, my prediction
And All Quiet was a great film.
It was.
So.
My prediction echoes yours. Everything Everywhere, my favorite movie of the year. I think it's been winning everything. I think it's definitely going to win Best Picture. But who would you give your award to?
Well, I mean, if the Academy wants to give the Oscar to the Best Picture, and you define Best Picture as not only a great movie, but the movie that got people in the theater
yes,
post-pandemic, then let's give it to Top Gun.
There we go.
I mean, come on. When was the last time a good old-fashioned, crowd-pleasing mainstream movie won the Oscar?
It saved movies, saved theaters.
Well, yeah. Steven Spielberg said, you saved Hollywood's butt.
Yeah. Thank you, Tom Cruise. Could you imagine Tom Cruise going up there to accept this award?
Oh, yeah.
A 20-minute speech. Yeah.
Let's give it to him.
That's great. I would love it. I'd be very happy. I mean, I give my award to Everything Everywhere, my favorite movie of the year.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would give them, I love that movie, but I would be so thrilled if the big shock was Top Gun Maverick. That'd be awesome.
Well, I mean, I kind of went through all the Best Picture nominees, and I think the last time the big, blockbuster that everybody went to go see won was in 2000, and that was Gladiator.
Sure, yeah. Yeah.
Maybe Lord of the Rings, but I thought that was
more
for the trilogy than it was for
that.
I
was like, we're going to get you your award at the end. When you're done with it all, we'll give you your award.
But all the movies that have won just recently have been these smaller, independent films.
Well, there's our predictions. You will find out this weekend how we did. I'm going to be posting all my predictions for every category as I do every year on our social media, so make sure you check it out there and keep me in check. Man, last year was a rough year. Hopefully I can turn it around this year with all those predictions. So let's take a look ahead at what is coming soon. I'm looking at March 17th. That's St. Patty's Day. That weekend we have a few films in theaters. First, we have Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Young Billy Batson, Shazam himself and family, must battle against some very nefarious bad people, Hespera and Calypso, played by Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu, respectively. We also have a dramatic thriller called Inside, starring Willem Dafoe as an art thief who gets trapped inside a penthouse after his heist goes awry, and we see if he will slowly lose his mind or will he find a way out. I'm really excited for that.
He'll lose his mind.
Right, he's lost it going in. We also have on Netflix The Magician's Elephant, an animated film about an orphan boy who is told by a fortune teller that an elephant will help him find his lost sister. And we also have I believe this is on Hulu, one of the best documentaries of last year is finally coming to streaming for people. Might even win the Academy Award. Don't think it will, but All the Beauty and the Bloodshed. Oscar-nominated doc.
I want to see this.
Yeah, about the fall of the Sackler family, the big pharma family responsible for a large portion of the country's opioid deaths. So that's finally coming to streaming for people to check out. I hope you do. We want to thank our sponsor, Marcus Theaters, the Palace here in Sun Prairie, for showing all these movies to us and all the Best Pictures showcase, and we recommend them. Also want to give a big shout out to our friend of the show, Dan Presser, the host of Sun Prairie News, just celebrated his 100th episode of Sun Prairie News. Make sure you're tuning into that show. Yeah, big time stuff, the 100th episode.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so congrats, Dan, and the crew there, everyone that contributes. Even the guy that comes on and talks movies nonsense. Sir, thank you for joining me again. I love doing this with you. I'm really hopeful that we we have some fun on the Oscars. We have some interesting things to talk about.
I hope so, and I'm glad Jimmy Kimmel's back.
I do as well.
There you go.
Yeah. Next week, I'm going to be talking about movies like Scream 6, Champions, and 65 with Michael Selesky, so tune in for that. But until that time, I'm Jameson.
And I'm Steve.
Thanks for watching.